manifestation of society. Because after all, what is society? Who is society? Where is society? It's not society, it's the concrete universality that realizes our common society and our common sociality. It's not just, I'm not using some vague word, social reality. I'm talking about where is our social reality real, a real, universal, concrete thing. And it's there in the form of our polity. And that's why I said I'm a Platonist. Because for Plato, that's the republic. For Plato, that's the republic. It's not the structure of society. Forget all that dumb bullshit you heard from, it's the structure, man. No, forget that. That actually made zero sense. I pity the fucking idiots of the world. I just pity them. I just pity the fucking stupid. I don't know what to tell them. They're so arrogant about how fucking stupid they are, and they're so adamant about it. And then when I confront them and yell at them about it, they become mild, saying, okay, Hans, I'm sorry. Well, you should be sorry. Because if you thought about it yourself, you wouldn't say something so fucking stupid. Plato's Republic is literally about that. For Plato's Republic, the Republic is an apparatus of our individuality. For Plato, we're not just the sum total of individuals. The truth of our individuality is manifested in the form of the universal republic. The universal and ideal republic. That's what his fucking book was about. The republic is literally an organ of the mind. It realizes something within all of us that is at the same time more fundamental than us. That's why it's Platonist. Because for Plato, the universal comes before the particular. You don't begin with an individual. You begin with the truth of the individual, which is for Plato, the republic. But because you're a product of our George Soros-funded education system, and your dumbass goes on fucking Reddit, and you go on your fucking computer and you watch that fucking guy, I can't even insult him because it's considered harassment, Vsauce, and you go on your fucking YouTube and you update your stupid bullshit, you don't know the goddamn first fucking thing about Plato. You just assume the opposite is true by default. Plato? How could that be? How could the universal be first? How could the universal be more fundamental than the particular? I did our philosophy, and it turns out all philosophy just reproduces me being a little shy, awkward nerd. Yeah. Everything is part of, we're all living in Vsauce's world, guys. It's all Vsauce. It's all Vsauce's universe. Everything is just the wonders. Philosophy, listen, at the end of the day, things are complex. At the end of the day, everything's meaningless. There's no meaning in the world. Everything's meaningless. It's all meaningless. It's all meaningless. There's no meaning. At the end of the day, we're going back to r/r philosophy, okay? Because at the end of the day, we're not actually getting anywhere. We're not solving anything. We're not going anywhere. It all goes back to r/Reddit philosophy. And we're just, listen, Reddit is Reddit. Technology is technology. And I watch Vice News, HBO. Look, the only thing that matters is the scandalous, steamy truth of things, okay? Don't talk to me about your grand visions and your grand ideas, when in reality, it's all going to go back to this simple, scandalous, and steamy truth of things behind the surface. I don't want to burst your bubble in your meta-narrative, but the truth is that this country was racist, and the founding fathers were racist, and the republic was racist, and we need to tear the statues down, and I hate to burst your bubble. So you think you want to form a meta-narrative, huh? You want to form a meta-narrative where there's a hero and there's a villain in the story? No. Everything's more complex. No. That's your fucking life, right? That's your fucking life. That's your whole world. That's everything you think in this world. You are corrupt. You are a corrupt blight on humanity. when you think this way. There are heroes. There are villains. There is a meta-narrative. There is a mythos. There is a story. And it's the greatest story ever told. It's a story they've been telling for thousands and thousands of years in different ways. It's the same fucking story. And it is real. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. There's no eternal return. It's not just all the same thing. There is change. There is a story. And that is the most dangerous thing you could say in our society. That is the most dangerous thing you could say in our society is that, you know what? We don't understand the Roman Empire. It was different. The Roman Republic was different. You didn't have Reddit in there. They'd be like, well, so you know Reddit, right? Well, back in the Roman Republic, they had their own, this is what you're going to hear on YouTube Historian. Well, they had their own version of Reddit. And basically, like, the Redditors of the Roman times were updating in the common forum, and it was pretty much Reddit. No, it fucking wasn't, right? Because when you have this arrogant view of trying to find all the aspects of our society in ancient societies, you make a few mistakes. One, you assume that these features you're elevating to eternity that exist in our society are always going to exist. How do you know Reddit's not on the precipice of its destruction? What if we're not going to have Reddit anymore? Inshallah, we're not going to have it anymore. Second, you assume there has been a progress where we know better than the past. How do you know better than the past? What if there are things the Romans understood about being we forgot? What if the future realizes itself in the form of remembering things that were lost in the past? Why was it called the Italian Renaissance? What was the Renaissance? It was because they were rediscovering something that was forgotten. Something that was forgotten. The mere passage of time does not mean you have mastered the past. Third of all, it assumes that you as an individual, forget about if our society has become more advanced, it assumes that you as an individual have mastered our society. What if there are things the Romans can tell us about our society today that you as an individual are too stupid or too unknowledgeable to understand? So you see, it's 3 mistakes you make when you say this stupid shit. It's like 3 mistakes you make when you assume this. Do you believe Plato's ideas like justice are unchanged even for today? Plato's idea is ahistorical. It means it doesn't change at all. It's just pure space. There's no history of Plato. It's all the same forever. That's why Althusser says there is no history of philosophy. Philosophy has no history. That's what he said. Philosophy has no history. Because the Platonic idea is eternal. But the reason it's eternal is because it's a bluff. It's a bluff. It has no content. For example, the concept of form. Is it eternal? Form is form, right? Form is form. A form, okay. We have a form. The ancients had a form. The ancients before them, for as long as we could speak, we had a word for form. So is form the abstract idea of form? Is that eternal? Yes, but because it's a bluff, because when you start to deal with particular forms, you start to realize that the nature of form itself is different across history. You're making simple things sound complicated. Form changes, so clearly not. The content of form changes, not form itself, you fucking moron. F- in my class. And you're gonna stay after detention too. F- in my fucking class. F-, you fucking dumbass. Of course form doesn't change, it's form.
Form in the abstract does not change. Particular forms change, but those are called content. You flunked. Failed my class. Form is form. Now, what form is the content. Why do you all think Hegel was so concerned with history? Because Hegel was dealing with the scandal history imposed on philosophy. By nature, the Platonic idea is supposed to be eternal. Hegel has to confront the fact that the eternal form of the idea has to manifest itself in different ways because of changes in history. Hegel was not arbitrarily interested in history. There's a reason for this. Because Hegel's brilliance, his genius, why he's the last philosopher ever. There's never been a philosopher since Hegel, by the way. The reason for it is because Hegel finally integrated the process of historical change into the idea. The idea became a moment for Hegel in the mind, of the mind. And for Hegel, the mind is eternal. And what is the mind? Well, there you go. For what is the mind is God, divinity, or maybe something more nefarious. I mean, was Hegel a Satanist? We don't know. I mean, it could be, yes, the Godhead of Gnosticism or the occult, mysticism. Or for Feuerbach, humanity. It's humanity. It's humanity itself. It's man himself is the mind, the Hegelian mind. He's nothing more than man. Man himself. Man has more than we gave him credit for. For Feuerbach, we gave it to God what belongs to man himself. How Spinoza wrecks this. I don't have time to get in Spinoza's spider web of mental rot. Aristotle, let me tell you guys this. Why are there philosophers after Plato? Plato has devised the perfect philosophical system. Plato is philosophy, the love of Sophia. Why does Sophia have so many lovers? Clearly something is wrong with her. If a woman has 20 divorces, something's wrong with her, isn't there? If a woman is divorced and married 100 times, would it be sensible to blame each man? Or do you start thinking maybe something wrong with Sophia? Of course you say something's wrong with Sophia. But for some stupid reason in the history of philosophy, we blame the man. Every time there's a philosopher, he says, this is how we solve it. This is how we do it. The very fact there was one divorce proves there's something wrong. The very fact there's one divorce proves something's wrong. Plato is philosophy. It is philosophy. The reason Aristotle and every other philosopher after him, but specifically Aristotle represents the most fundamental division in the history of philosophy, is because of the inadequacy of philosophy to address the question of being. Aristotle is considered evil and satanic, whatever, because Aristotle represents at its most fundamental level the inadequacy of philosophy. But what makes Aristotle evil is because he also tries to save philosophy. He says, okay, there's all this inadequacy, but don't worry, at the end we save philosophy. Philosophy is okay. The consistency of the idea is maintained. Even worse than divorce. Why is Sophia being seen with so many different men? Sophia is originally married, for example, to Plato. Plato first marries her, right? Why is she sleeping around with all these other... She's being seen just coincidentally. You find her in another man's bed. You find her in an alleyway with another man. Oh, no. She wasn't sleeping with him. It was just, I'll solve it. I'll save the marriage. No, something is wrong. The truth is that the only philosopher is Plato. Hegel, I call him the last philosopher, right? Because after him, not because Hegel is technically a philosopher, but because no philosophy is possible after Hegel. Hegel represents the end of what Plato started, the answer to Plato's riddle, and escape from Plato's labyrinth, the labyrinth of philosophy. And that's why Hegel's disciple, Marx, represents a new beginning for mankind. Marx became what? Marx became the Soviet Union. Marx became the Communist Party of China. And such as now, here's our world, right? This is the world we're living in now. I gotta put this sign here because... Oh, fuck. I can't believe we went from war with Russia to this. So let's actually get back to the news here because we've deviated quite a bit.